Welcome back, citizens of Tamriel. I'm Cal, and today I've got a short video for you all. I'm going to show you how you can solo Fungal Grotto I. Now, most dungeons in the Elder Scrolls Online are soloable at some point, but today we're talking about FG1 because it happens to be the easiest one to solo, in my opinion. And you can skip about 90% of the dungeon. You actually only need to defeat the second boss and the final boss. And it's actually easier to solo than the solo arenas or many of the world bosses throughout Tamriel. I actually learned about this trick from my good friend and guildie, Valix. He also happens to have a YouTube channel, so if you want to check him out, I'll leave a link in the description below. Now, before we get started, let's talk about why I'm making this video this week. Golden Pursuits were added to the game in Update 44, and we actually have our first Golden Pursuit going on right now, where you can get this super nice, revised 10-year anniversary Nord hero outfit, along with the adventure-ending arrow minor adornment. Both of which I think are super cool, and if you have the time, you should definitely complete these tasks. But one of those happens to be to complete a group dungeon. Now, obviously, you can use the dungeon finder to get yourself into a group, but if you're feeling super hermity and you don't want to deal with any other players, this is the quickest way to get that task done. So let's get right into it. Now, I'll be using a couple different builds throughout the dungeon, and I'll leave the details on each of those builds at the end of the video. For now, I'm going to switch into my rogue gear, and the main thing that I have here is Ring of the Wild Hunt and 5 pieces of Night Silence. So that lets me move at full speed and with the speed boost from the Ring of the Wild Hunt while stealthed or hidden. On my hotbar down here, you can see I actually have these roguish stealth drafts. You can also craft potions of invisibility, but all of these are sellable or buyable on guild traders. But basically this makes your character invisible for a period of time. And that's how we're going to skip most of the content in this dungeon. If you're a Nightblade, you could also use the cloak skill. That'll allow you to sneak past. And I believe if you're Khajiit and you have the right sets and the right skills, you can functionally become invisible as well. But for most of us out there who aren't playing Khajiit or Nightblade, you're going to want to get some of these stealth potions or potions of invisibility. All right, let's get started here. So I'm going to go ahead and stealth with my rogue setup and just start running towards these guys, pop that potion, and we are just going to run right by all of the trash in the dungeon until we get to the second boss. At which point I'll swap over to my solo build. We'll solo that guy real quick, and then we'll head for the final boss. And again, I've managed to do this in just about 3 minutes flat. If you're a little bit lower level, it might take you a little bit longer, or if your build isn't quite there yet. I think for most players above CP level 500, this is going to be achievable. But if not, you can always rely on that group queue, of course. All right, so let me go ahead and switch back real quick to my solo build. And let's take care of this guy. Now, Zerthar here is set up as a tank. He's not fully leveled yet, so I've still got a little work to do on him, but he's in pretty good shape. Like I mentioned earlier, a companion is not required for this. I have soloed this dungeon. I soloed this dungeon prior to having a companion, but they do make it a little bit easier, especially when they're set up to tank or heal, and it just lets you sort of wail on the boss, right? But this is one of only 2 mobs that we need to kill in the dungeon to get this clear. Also not required to play as a warden. Any class, any race class combo could work here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and switch back into my rogue gear just so I move a little bit quicker. I don't think we even need to stealth from this point until we jump into the water at the end. And I'm actually gonna grab this heavy sack real quick. Obviously take a couple extra seconds there, but now a lot of you out there probably already know about this shortcut, but you actually don't have to unstealth at all. You can just run right by all these mud crabs straight to the final boss. Probably the trickiest part of all of this is just getting up this hill right here. And then of course, watch your step on this bridge. Easy to fall through. Let's switch back over to my Brawler build and kill this Dread King. And that's it. After we could defeat this boss, the dungeon is over. If I hadn't already completed that task for the Golden Pursuit, I'd get credit for completing the group dungeon. You don't have to do it with other people. You can do it hermit mode if you want. All right, we're just about done here. There we go. So that is it. All right, guys, I did promise to share these builds with you. There's nothing too special here. The solo sort of brawler build that I'm using is something that I put together years ago based on a handful of different guides that were out there. Basically, it was recommended as a good build for the Maelstrom Arena, and I did use it to successfully solo that. So it's 5 pieces of Briarheart, which you get from Hrothgar, and 5 pieces of Vicious Serpent. In addition to that, I'm using the Ring of the Pale Order. That wasn't originally part of the build. This actually predates mythic items, but once they added that, I added that to the build, and then I'm backbarring the Maelstrom's Bow for that one. As far as the skills, it's sort of the standard Warden mix, a bunch of the animal companion skills. Obviously, I had the bear out there, and then of course I've slotted Caltrops just to help with penetration and resolving vigor for my self-heal. For that rogue build, it's 3 pieces of Night Terror and 5 pieces of Night Silence, like I mentioned earlier. Both of those are Ledger Domain thieving sets. Of course, I've got the Wild Hunt ring, like I mentioned earlier, and it's really just about moving as fast as possible while you're stealthed, hidden, or invisible. So I'll try and pop links into the description for both of those builds. Again, nothing too special there. They're pretty standard stuff. Most of those sets are easy to come by. So if you wanted to recreate them piece for piece, it shouldn't be too hard to do. And that is actually going to do it for today's video. I do hope some of you out there found this useful. I know it's been really useful for me, not just for the Golden Pursuits this week, but also during the Undaunted celebration. Being able to solo a dungeon in 3 minutes or so and get another bag of Undaunted glory is a great way to farm rewards during the event. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments down below and I'll do my best to answer. And I would like to thank all of you for watching today's video. And of course, send an extra thanks to my supporters over on Patreon. If you would like to join them and get your name in the credits on screen right now, be sure to click that link, head over and check out the Patreon. I'll be back again real soon with more ESO content for you all. Until then, I hope you all have a great evening and I'll see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.